I'm James Mraz. I'm the Associate Chair of the Graduate Spatial Experience Design Department here at ArtCenter College and the Furniture, Lighting, and Fixtures program as well. And I want to welcome you to 950 on Raymond Avenue, which is our South Campus at ArtCenter. And here we have the Reveal exhibition. And you may have been following us, but this is going to be our last Black Box Talks with graduate students here. And this whole exhibition, Reveal, is really about the graduate students' works. And we came up with this idea back in the beginning of the year because at ArtCenter, really well known for our polished products and refined outcomes. And so with our graduate departments, we want to do something a little different. And so we're actually sharing the process, what's behind the layers of meaning for the project. So we have 9 graduate departments at ArtCenter. And our first cohort, which started in January and ended in summer, we had 9 exhibitors. And the second cohort, we have 13 exhibitors. And this show will be up here at 950 Raymond. We welcome you to come. It'll end on February 13th, Friday the 13th. So come on in and let me show you around. Come on. So as you can see, we're showing a lot of the process here. And here we have spatial experience design represented. This is the graduate program. We have Masters of Fine Art project here. She was actually featured in the previous Black Box talk that we did. And we have media design practices here. And also we have Masters of Industrial Design. And over here, we're going to meet these folks in a minute, but we have a Masters of Fine Art Graphics. And we have interaction design and brand strategy. And over here, I forgot to mention, it's a furniture, lighting, and fixtures work being exhibited here by Lance Lee. And today we actually have Gerardo Herrera, who's the associate chair. Hey, hi, Gerardo. Associate chair of brand design strategies, and Sam Jan Fleming, who's the associate chair of graphics. And we have 2 amazing students who are exhibiting here now, who are graduates. We have Yitong Jiang. How you doing?
Hi.
And we have Umang Ulawalia here.
Hello.
And so we're going to learn a bit more about their process and how they came upon their final project. So Gerardo and Samjan, you want to maybe walk us through with Umang and Yitong?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thanks, James. Thanks, everybody. I am very happy to talk to these 2 again because we haven't seen them in a little while. They've been out in the wild, just working and getting really busy. So it's great to have them back here close to home. I wanted to talk a little bit about this is their graduate thesis, work, and this is the show that, goes through the process and really kind of examines how they came to their thesis and how they came to their project. And so we'll start with Umang. And I wanted to just get a sense from you, how your process started. Where did you start when you were thinking about this, and how did you come upon this topic?
I think the process started by just throwing out a lot of ideas and kind of seeing what I was interested in, really, truly, personally, what I was interested in, and seeing what I want to put out in the world. And I was taking in all this research and learning a bunch of different stuff that maybe I was interested in that wasn't necessarily graphic design. And then I realized maybe a problem that I wanted to solve. And this thesis,
was that?
I would definitely say the act of researching for designers I felt was flawed. The organization and classification of information on the internet I thought could be done in more interesting ways, especially through AI today. And identified that feedback loops and echo chambers were a big problem in the organization of information and the display of information. So this project is kind of inspired by the act of learning, being on the internet, and experiencing information in the digital age that we all do today.
Talk to me a little bit about how you feel information is organized now and how it could be organized in the future.
Yeah, kind of like what I said, of just we see the same information over and over again. Certain information is prioritized for capitalistic reasons, and everything is very flat But now we have the ability to experience information like with our hands. And that's kind of what some of these interfaces propose, that even though you're looking at it on a 2D screen, you can still understand it and feel it with your body, and therefore having a deeper and more sensorial connection with that information that allows you to actually process it and learn it better and physically connect two seemingly disparate things together, which you can't really do today.
And that's, I mean, it's a lot easier nowadays to do that with the help of some AI tools, I'm sure, you know, like just making those connections really fast instead of you searching it out, having to make, you know, like put a lot of things out there and then try to remember it all.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's really brilliant, and that's why I've like, oh, I wish you would just get with making this because we need it. I really admired the testing and the prototyping that you did. Can you talk a little bit about some of that and how you, like, how did you test and play around with this idea? Did you make something like that? Is that what you were talking about? Like you made?
Yeah. I would say I started with like the digital part of it first, and then bringing that into the physical space, like where could this live in both contexts. So thinking about like a use case, I guess, was super helpful in the process. Could you take in information from a museum or an archive or a library and think about their future roles as technology develops, and then thinking about how to organize it all both in digital and physical context.
And what was this experiment here?
Yeah, so that's also part of the iteration, like you're pointing out, like that 10-sided shape. Is that possibly a way to experience information? Is it something that suspends in the air? But ultimately kind of landing on this shape where you're experiencing information actually like being inside of it.
Let me move that.
But like being inside of this shape where different panels can represent different buckets of ideas, but obviously since the panels are all connected, you're able to make connections pretty like naturally and through gesture. So like I said before, like physically connecting two things.
Right. And could this be done on the web in a more dimensional way? Is that what you were thinking about? Like, I know this is one step toward dimension. Were you thinking that this could always be sort of living in a physical space, or would it live in a digital space in that way too?
I think what this is also maybe like getting at is like, how do we experience information and technology in the future, like outside of just holding a device or looking at it on a laptop?
Right.
Can they like, is the internet more like an immersive and physical thing actually?
Right.
So.
Yes, Gerardo.
I was gonna just for our viewers out there, I want them to know, like, you know, we're seeing these photographs up here, but these are actual models you built. I mean, you built a small model, but then in actuality, you were here and you actually built these full-scale models, correct? I mean, these are not. It's not a digital. You putting a photograph of a silhouette of a person in there to show
that's
scale.
Your actual head there.
That's my head, yeah.
Inside.
Yeah.
That's your head inside.
So instead of just also being on the internet, going into like an exhibition and seeing it at that kind of scale. My assumption is that, of course, I love seeing it this way. Is that you really wanted people to get that full experience as they walked into this area.
Yeah, totally.
And could you do that with other technology like a VR experience, or
that's a good idea.
Something of that kind? Because then you could, be looking at information in that, that VR space in a different and cool way, which I think a lot of people would really like.
Yeah, I think I was definitely thinking about VR, AR throughout all of this. If it's like, I mean, maybe it's being projected through my glasses or something.
Right. True.
Yeah, or something like that.
But what was so going back to the VR versus this nice physical space that you walk into? What was your ideal? I mean, did you want to have it in a space where it feels like you're walking into something and creating that ambient, other pieces surrounding experience, or I mean, thinking about those types of stages.
I think So the flexibility of VR is that you can wear it anywhere. I think that's like has its own pros and cons. But for me, what I wanted to do was create like a physical space where there's nothing on your body, and like that was kind of like something important to me, where this can be a place for you to go, and hopefully there's multiple places like this for you to go. But I think the more physical and real life it is, it's the best, I think.
Right.
So
if you were in a library
Yeah.
situation, you know, like this might be the next generation of libraries,
Yeah.
or it could be, you know, a university publication experience of some kind would be really interesting.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people would just travel there to do that experience, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Well, speaking of publications, I mean, I guess, Samjan, you had them really do some amazing things
Well,
in the thesis, right?
Yes, they did. And yeah, these guys, this is process. This is first term, you know, of thesis is really doing the research and thinking about the idea and, you know.
So everyone has to do these.
Yeah.
Wow, these
And
are
so
nice.
everyone has to do these publications, but this covers the first term of thinking. It's the digest that is formed after the first term. And I was leafing through this earlier, and you really did sort of lay this out in process, which is really nice. And you know, what did you find like was good about having to put this together? Did it have a value to you to put this together at the end of that term?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, it was about consolidating my ideas into different, almost like every spread is a kind of like a different idea that I was thinking about. So like, what is the role of design? And then like the next page might be like the role of computer science in relationship to graphic design. And it kind of continues on and on like that. Like,
Right.
how can we rethink our algorithms, and then therefore the interfaces in which we experience the algorithms through. So I think this getting your ideas out on paper and having to really create a narrative around it
Right.
was super important.
Well, it's important for you guys to get out of your head.
Yeah,
And
totally.
you can get bogged down in research, but once you start making and visualizing, it really comes together. And that's part of it's a big part of the reason that we do a digest, so that it really becomes a making and organizing of your information, which I find to be quite beautiful at the end of the term. So, you know, I really appreciate you made a very hefty digest, which I think is sort of speaks to your quality of your thesis. I also wanted to understand, like, when you're looking at this and thinking about, you know, how information is organized, what do you feel like is the worst part of the way that information is existing right now for you as a designer or just as a human?
I wish that things were more connected and like those connections were more easily apparent. I'm a big believer that you can always connect anything, and that was kind of like the whole point of this thesis. So that's kind of like me making the change I want to see in the world.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I believe that too. I wanted to ask Yitong what you thought. I mean, I want to show this book in a second, but I wanted to, because you guys were in the same group, you were in the same thesis group, and you saw the process that Umang was going through. What did you think about his project along the way?
Well, I think Umang's approach is always like really systematic and really critical. He has really critical thinking along the whole process, and he actually influenced me a lot during my process. Also, it's always like communicate. But his influence to me is never on the surface. Like, he won't tell me like what should I do, but like, for example, his way of thinking is always really interactive, and he's always thinking how to organize information in a more interactive way, and that also like helped me in my thesis, like how I organize information, like how I thinking about things that could, you know, in a more interactive and immersive way of doing things. And I really appreciate that. And he always gives like his honest feedback for me. Yeah.
Honest feedback is hard to come by sometimes.
There's nothing mutual though. So,
Yeah.
you know, like,
I think for the sake of
That's
time,
good.
guys, we should maybe thank you for that, and we should maybe move on more to Yitong's work. But
Okay.
I'm so impressed, Samjung, you know, and Umang with the work. It's truly like multidisciplinary.
Yeah.
You know, and to do something so tactile is the journal, and then this idea of working in the spatial realm.
yeah.
You know,
And then
it's
there's a whole book.
really admirable.
There's a
And
whole
of course,
book.
there's the
Yeah.
videos. We'll be showing that up here on the video
Right.
as well soon.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
Thank
let's
you for
go
that.
over and talk about, well, I think there's a really great segue here. Let's talk about this yellow piece of paper that you guys found in the studio
Yeah.
when we were setting up this this project, this gallery.
So this is Yitong sketching what could be some organizational systems, or like the way to think about how information is connected through different parameters or typologies.
Yeah. We were kind of like brainstorming together the other day, like about Umang's scissors.
What's on the other side?
Yeah, the other side is my sketch, like my notes about my project. Because somehow we were sharing the same sketching paper, and eventually, like, we ended up like in a same set in this room, and we were like hanging that paper there. And the front set is my process, and the back set is his process, which is
Yeah.
like kind
That's
of interesting.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go over to the other side and look at your work then.
Yeah. Okay.
So as we make our way over there, I just wanted to point out that the identity, the work that you see up here up on the walls, in terms of the graphics, that was done by Umang, who helped James Mraz and I as we were curating this. We even had Umang go ahead and lay down that vinyl on that glass, first time ever. So that was a lot of fun to see him pull that together, because we were all pitching in to make that happen.
Yeah, super
Which is
grateful
great.
for the opportunity. It was really
It's a
amazing.
lot of fun. So yeah, all the way to templates and everything that was done, we did that. So it was fun. It was fun to have his help on all this. All right, let's go to our
Oh.
next.
Tell us about your project, Yitong.
Yes, here's my thesis project, Transmutation, and it mainly explores like how designers were using imaging technologies to reimagine how we can experience imaging through both physical and digital dimensions. And this project actually started with my biggest passion, photography, which is like outside of design.
Right.
I really love photography, and so I wanted to do something about it. So I started to do researching, and I found this imaging technology, like it's super new. It's called remote sensing technology, which scientists use it for like in outer space. I find it super cool, and it's like basically decoding color system, and to analyze information through the imaging. So I found that, and also other like several technologies such as 3D scanning, a lot of stuff. I found them super cool. And then I started to realize one thing is that 3D scanning, it's not as hard to reach as we think. It's really super easy to use, because all of our phone right now that you are using, it's embedded with LiDAR, and it's super easy for you to download an app and take a photography with 3D scanning.
Wow.
It's more in depth, and
Is that what you were doing back there?
Yeah, I was
exactly.
just going to say,
Here.
talk to us about some of these little tests and fun things that you did.
Yes, this is me scanning our scissors classroom. This is the whole cohort with a 3D scanning app. I think that's Brad and that's Sam Jam here. Yes.
I recognize myself right away.
Throughout the whole term, I'm trying to document my daily life and like little subjects even by using 3D scanning. I did several experiments using all the new imaging technologies such as 3D scanning, 3D printing. That's like a new way of outputting images, and also using like AI to output images and produce images. So
So when you say AI, is
Yeah.
that you up there? Then you scanned yourself in there and you made yourself into a
yes,
robot?
exactly, yes. So how I did this is that I actually trained a AI model using like over, I think 500 photos of myself, my self-portraits, and use machine learning to let AI, remember what's my feature, like how I look. And then I would input a different prompt, like really sci-fi, in a really sci-fi way, and create this like really robotic myself.
And what are these down here, these photographs?
These are also actually generated by AI, but just by simply changing the prompt in a more analog photography way. So these two are all AI, but just with they generate using different prompts.
And how did you start to then kind of work into this sort of 3D printing and sort of the sort of layering that you started to use in some of these different examples and tests that you did?
Oh yes. So by saying that I started from the 3D scanning part, later on I just find out that another way that I want to explore this new technology stuff is that I found out why are we still using ink printer to print out like posters or images? Why don't we use like 3D printer to output images? That's like a new way. So I started to do tons of experiments, including how we can 3D print typeface and also images. So this is the experiment that I did to output this 3D printed poster here. So all the typeface shown here are all coded by P5GS, which is a platform, creative coding platform. I was thinking if we want to utilize 3D printers, the good part of it, I want to create something dimensional. And it's not just like simply extrude, but it's like dancing in the space. So I started to use the P5GS platform to code it this typeface and output it in the 3D model format. And to output this using my own home 3D printer, I have to considering the size limitation. That's why I slip the whole poster into 12 pieces. As you can see, there are some lines here because I print them separately into 12 pieces in total and connect them using the inner structure embedded.
Is that all? Are those all your image that you printed out?
Oh yes, yes. These images are actually from the AI images that we talked about there. The way that I make it 3-dimensional is also using AI. There's a platform in GitHub that people can just upload an image and make it 3-dimensional by analyze the color underneath the image to extrude it up.
So I wanted to ask you talked about really thinking about printing posters, right? But you're also doing these really interesting experimentation. Like, did you actually use a 3D printer? You printed on this acetate, right?
Yes.
So you printed on acetate, and then I see over here you did some really interesting prints. Like, I'm hoping I won't ruin it, which I just did. But
that's what happens in life.
You printed fabric, right? So it's very flexible.
Yeah.
Can you kind of walk us through just this and maybe this, and then I guess you also did even your covers too in terms of all of that for your book. Thesis book. How were you just having fun? What were you?
I was having a lot of fun during all the explorations. So this fabric comes first. This is like first child because my initial idea was to find a way that to make poster still feel like paper. So I tested with fabric and printed on paper directly, but the paper one failed. But the fabric one actually worked super cool. So the overall systematic is the same as what I mentioned by using coding, but it's just the material it's different. And this approach, I think it's easier than outputting a poster because the scale is smaller. So I think it could be a really utilitarian way for designers to use in the future if they really want to, output a small poster.
That's cool.
Yeah, with
So
3D printer.
how did you choose this fabric? You just knew that this was something you could use, or?
Oh no, I bought like over, I think 5 or 6 type of fabric, and I
gosh.
tested them all. I think this this fabric is more soft, and
So
the
it should-
hard material won't work.
Huh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So there
Very
are,
interesting.
yeah.
So cool. And then, talk about, what were you going to ask?
Oh, I was going to say, take a
This.
look at.
Yeah, I was going to
This.
say, this is truly a remarkable exploration, Yitong. And I think, if you think about it, your generation, it's the most photographed generation in the history of, photographs. Yet you don't have photos. So I think the potential of what you leave behind, or how you have an archive of yourself, you're really truly exploring the kind of the potential of all this here. So
What
really applaud that. It's very spatial too, very architectural in a sense too, I think, what you're doing.
Let's ask Umang what he thought of, since that's fair. Turnabout is fair play.
Yeah.
Let's ask what you thought when Yitong was developing this whole idea. What were you guys talking about? What did you think about?
I think.
Can you remember it?
Yeah. I think Yitong approached this project with a lot of generosity, in just terms of, Gerardo pointed out, just so many different explorations, and every week it was a new idea, oh, I want to do this now, I want to do this, and that was honestly really inspiring. So I think for our whole thesis pod, it was really inspiring in terms of just being okay, I gotta keep up with Yitong. Just in how many things she was bringing, how many ideas she was bringing to the table constantly.
Brad called you the mad scientist of thesis.
Yeah, Yitong was the mad scientist for sure.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I also, I really appreciate how this exists in a digital context, and then almost everything in between, to from the installation to a poster, and I want to wear this.
Yeah,
but,
Speaking of black and white clothing,
it is truly multidisciplinary.
Christmas gift.
Yeah.
There you go. And what is, talk just a tiny bit, I'm going to smash your pages,
Yeah.
a tiny bit about this experiment that you did with the projections. What is that?
Yes, as I mentioned, how I got inspired from Umang's work also, I was also thinking about, could I make this photography process more interactive and more immersive? That's why I came up with the idea of building out a room-sized future camera. So I was interpreting the old camera shape. You can see these panels are actually building up the bellow shape from the old camera.
Right.
Yeah, I was trying to build, so these overall, these panels together, they are a camera itself. And each layer of it would represent one emerging technology. So it's keep evolving from the analog photography to the future AI photography, and even more. What's the next layer? And that's also a question to thinking about.
Very interesting. I didn't get to see that in person. I'm glad that you have this documentation. That's the good part of documentation. And let's just show you guys books, because I think you have really you did something special for your book as well. And let me see your book.
The front, the front cover is also my face in the cubes. In the back side is the AI image that I generated. All me. Me's everywhere.
And for our, I'm sorry, keep going.
Oh no.
For our graphic designers in the program, creating these big memorializing books of their projects and incorporating their writing, their research, and their whole process in these books is such a gift to us, because it really helps us keep a history of the program and what people were thinking about, and it creates a sort of different kind of dialogue with designers along the way. So,
It's a nice history, right? And
Yeah.
you can go back and you can learn, how did they do that?
Yeah.
Wow, this is a good documentation of your process, so that somebody can look back and go, I want to see where I can jump off where you left off. Maybe.
Right. I mean, I've used your books and your thinking this year just to help students think, you know, because you get a little bit lost when you're in thesis, right? And you get lost in the,
just a little bit.
To say the least. You get a little lost, and so you have to have a North Star, and I think these are amazing North Star projects for the program, because when you get to the end of it and you've created so much content, you've created so much experimentation, and you've created a discussion piece that you can talk about for a long time. So, I mean, I don't forget it. I know your other faculty don't forget it, and so you should realize that this lives now in history at ArtCenter, and it's very special.
You're right. It lives in history, and what I also like about this, and I always tell our students, I know Yitong and Umang, you hear that in my class, you know, the students who leave these sort of things for us, you basically are teaching. You're
Right.
teaching them, right, when you're not there. So, in effect, you also become our teachers in that area. So that's what I really love about that.
The best teachers. The best.
I just want to say thank you so much for sharing, and this is such a beautiful window into our graduate design departments here at ArtCenter, and especially for Sambia and Gerardo for mentoring, you know, Yitong and Umang for this incredible depth of works that you're creating. Do you have any final words you want to say about this?
Shout out to Brad. Shout out to Brad
Exhibition?
Bartlett, who does a lot of the heavy lift on, you know, these kind of projects.
Yeah.
So Umang, Yitong, how do we find your works?
Oh yes, please find us here. There will be
What?
showing up.
Graphics
Well,
here.
there
Graphics here. What about you? Graphics here.
Yeah,
there
on
you
my
go.
head right here. That's where I want it.
Well, any final thoughts, you guys?
Yeah, shout out Brad for guiding us through this like crazy process.
Yeah.
I don't think we could have done it without him.
There's definitely like questions and confusion during the overall process, but I think trust the process. It's really important, because I wanted to give like a single deep message at the beginning, but then I started to realize that's not working, and then I transform into, you know, give out the process as the deliverable, which is also another way to thinking about thesis. Yeah.
Thank you for that. I think I'm going to share that. Please share that video with me. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you getting this together and also participating in this. So thanks again. James, did you have anything else?
Yeah, I mean, this has been so compelling. We have a lot of questions, actually, and we'll get back to you later. I'll spend some time, have a coffee with Yitong and Umang. Lots of great questions about the work. There's so much curiosity. Final thoughts is actually this will be our last Black Box Talks for this exhibition. So please stay tuned. We have a lot more to come in the future, and thanks so much for joining us.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, James.